Hi, I'm Lanre Akinlagun and I'm under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Lanre Akinlagun attended the London Metropolitan University, where he studied marketing and advertising. He worked at digital marketing agencies and also at Universal Pictures, IBM, and Jason Njokus' Iroko TV, the last before he set out on the Drinks.ng adventure. Today, Drinks.ng is the largest drinks e-commerce site in Nigeria. Welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Lanre.
Nice to meet you.
All right, Lanre, I read somewhere where you mentioned that, you like to drink a lot.
I love to drink, not a lot.
So is this one of those scenarios where your pure passion has been converted to a business?
See, drinking is not just about being drunk and stuff like that, it's about having a good time and being happy. So if I've got a passion for making people happy, then yeah, that's really what it is. And helping people find quality products, that's the most important thing.
So interestingly, your contacts on LinkedIn have come to a consensus that digital marketing is your thing.
Yeah.
Now, could it be that your skill and passion have helped in birthing Drinks.ng?
Obviously, I mean, from an online point of view, marketing is the be-all and end-all outside of the technology. But I mean, the passion for having fun and making people have fun and merging them together, I mean, it goes hand in hand. Marketing, drinks are very social, marketing is a very social thing. All well and good what you merge it with, but yeah.
Now, you read communications and multimedia at the London Metropolitan University. What key lessons in marketing did you learn and are willing to share?
It's all I've ever known, to be honest with you. I mean, since secondary school, it's all I've ever known. It's all I've ever done. I mean, I've had a very long stretch of consistency in doing it and studying it. So, I mean, it's just, if you look around now, it's like, what makes this product a good product? It's the marketing. Like, what's really the difference between Sprite and 7-Up? It's very minuscule. The difference between Coke and Pepsi, it's very minuscule. It's the marketing that makes the big difference. And it comes from a curiosity of knowing, why do people do these things and why do people like these things and how can you convince people? It's like a girl, right? You see a girl and you're like, ugly guys get girls too. It's how he markets himself that allows him to get her or not get her. So it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing.
So you grew up in the United Kingdom. Why did you decide to move back to Nigeria?
I knew why I did. I don't know why. I mean, I still am. But, Nigeria's been a really challenging place in the last year and a half. I've never experienced nothing like this in my life. But there's a lot of opportunity in Nigeria. There's a lot of opportunities to help. Apart from people coming for reasons of wealth, there's a lot of reasons to help. I mean, the Nigeria I look at now, compared to when I was younger and I used to come here, there was no opportunities for young people, period. There's a huge urbanization, and with urbanizations comes opportunity. There's a lot of retail stores and department stores opening, and that's given a lot of young people an opportunity to work. These are things they didn't have before. So there's a lot of cultural restraints around how Nigeria as a country develops, and I think empowering the youth, which I still see myself as part of, is part of a nation developing, and I wanted to be part of that, as well as seeing an opportunity for the business that I'm doing now, streamlining it and helping the way consumers are treated, the way consumers are able to purchase their products was also part of that opportunity. Yeah, as I say, it's been a challenging almost 2 years now. I mean, I've been here 3 years, but the last year and a bit, this year has been really, really hard with elections and terrorism and all sorts of things. But if you're in Nigeria, one thing you'll notice is a huge optimism regardless of what goes on.
I'm sure you experienced some culture shock when you just got back to Nigeria. What were they?
Culture shocks are just like the way people think, the way people behave, the way people view things, how easy or hard they are to market to, how people view certain things. Everything's just a bit different from every level. And it's good learning that, because you know, if I go to another country, if I go to another market, I'll especially in Africa, I'll have a sense of the people. Because I mean, we're different, but we're not that different from country to country. So, you know, when I was younger, like I said, young people had no voice at all. You had no money, you had no voice, you had no opinion. You know, it was that whole be seen and not be heard. But if you look around now, I mean, you see young people driving, which wasn't really that possible when you were younger. You just weren't allowed to. You weren't given the confidence, you weren't given the opportunity. But even as small as being able to drive, being able to earn money, being able to make your own decisions. And this is birthing a new age of entrepreneurism in Nigeria, which I think is going to build a big opportunity. I think those days where the older generation, which you can see have, since independence till now, have continuously failed us. The Mark Zuckerbergs and the youth of America who are empowering themselves and changing the society there, they're starting to do the same thing here. I mean, you can look at Sim from Conga, you can look at Jason from Iroko, you can look at Mark from Hotels, you can look at the Jobberman guys. These are all young people empowering themselves, and if you go to any of these guys' offices, 70 to 80%, if not more than that, of their employees are all younger people that are empowered with skills, knowledge, opportunity, and maybe not wealth, but able to earn money and build a life for themselves and earn for themselves. And this is, as I say, is part of the change that Nigeria and Africa as a whole.
How would you compare running a business in Nigeria to running one in the United Kingdom?
On a short-term basis, at the moment, because we're all still on our journey, I would say they've succeeded because, I mean, these guys have been around between 3 and 5 years. They've employed a large number of youths. They've enlightened a large number of youths. On top of that, I think, including myself, if you look at the Congas, the Jumias, the Irokos, and so on, apart from giving youth the opportunity to work, they gave them a great deal of confidence and exposure. And from those companies, other companies have come out from those guys learning from these companies and moving on to start their own companies. And yes, I mean, for me, just in that point of view, that's success.
Okay.
You know, enlightenment is the biggest part of success, just knowing what you can do, what abilities you can have, and what is achievable.
Okay.
You know, it's very inspiring for me and probably for other young people to see these guys raising $10, $20 million. So like 10, 15 years ago, that just wouldn't have even been possible. And if it was possible, you know, the first thing your dad would first take it for you and say he's keeping it for you. And that's the end of that. You know, and that happened down to the smallest 10, 20 naira we were given. So yeah, I would say success has happened in that sense, yeah.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Drinks.ng was financed by Spark Internet Group in 2013 and reported on several outlets as being the biggest e-commerce venture in the drinks business in Nigeria. How is Drinks.ng doing today in terms of impact, revenue, market share?
Hard to say about market share because, you know, in Nigeria, those sort of stats are hard to come by. But, I mean, there are a large number of online players in the e-commerce space doing drinks. I mean, we try to be as modest as possible with this, but I don't know any of the others that are focused on it the way we are. I don't know any of the others that have made as many inroads with the major drink companies as much as we have. And I don't know anyone that has invested in trying to change and adopt new things the way we have. So I would still say we are still the sole guys that are willing to go the long road through thick and thin. I don't have any other side gig. I purely focus on this. So we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well because we are pretty much on the marketing plans of all the major guys. They know us, they respect us, they support us in all the different things that we're doing and have done as well. So we're doing well. I don't have the marketing and PR zeal as Jason does. We just stick to just daily hustling and just breaking walls down every day and just moving step by step. You know, we're competing with the traditional traders. Okay. So all we've got to do is just focus and just break things down every day and try to move forward. So we're doing well.
What other strategies have you lined up to ensure that you get even more market share?
I can tell you what we have done and how we propose to develop on those. So as I say, apart from the e-commerce site, we have a couple of physical stores. which allow you to do click and collect. So you can buy it online and come and pick in store, or you can just come into the store and you can just buy. You can buy retail, you can buy wholesale, you can get a party catered for if you walk into the store. We have an automatic calculator on the website. So if you have a party that you want to do, you can just go on the website, you can put in your details and your party will be automatically calculated for you. And so there's no going to the open market, there's no waiting for someone to come to your house and go through it yourself. You can do it all yourself at the click of a button in less than 10 minutes. Other ways in which we're trying to change things is we're revamping our site, specifically focusing on the events industry on one segment. We're actually bringing the offline event planners online. So you can just basically go on the website, you can put how many people come into your wedding or your party or house party, what your budget is, you pick your category of drinks. You can pick if you want a bartender to come and serve there, if you want cocktails made. But more interestingly, what we're trying to do is if you want the service done, where you got barmen and waiters and stuff like that, you can pick Drinks.ng to come and do it for you if you want. But on top of that, if you don't want to, we can get other vendors. We'll have other vendors on there, and you can pick other vendors as well, and they can come on there.
So tell me, Lanre, how is travel and interacting with diverse cultures, impacted on the business?
Not much, because we're pretty much very similar in a lot of ways across the whole of Nigeria. I mean, I've been to Calabar, I've been to Enugu, I've been to Abuja, I've been to Ibadan. Actually, Ibadan's a bit different, but everywhere else, generally, you're delivering drinks for a party, people are happy. I mean, to be honest with you, Nigerians are pretty much very, very similar when it comes to the products that we sell. So we've been pretty fortunate in the sense that we've had a lot of good experiences. The people are quite similar in that sense, and logistics is probably our bigger problem as opposed to diversity of culture and people in different parts of Nigeria. Obviously, the North doesn't come into it because we supply a few products to the North, and that's generally to expatriates who are looking for really obscure drinks or really expensive drinks and they can't get up there. But generally, it's been fine.
I know that human resource is a key element to consider when growing an enterprise. I know you've mentioned to me, before all of the problems and issues you've had, employing people here. So, I mean, what are these challenges and how do you hire?
The problems that I come across at the moment is there's not enough good talent to hire, and the mediocre talent that you come across price themselves so far out of this world that you just think, like, what are you doing? It confuses me because you're in a country that people say there's not enough employment. However, my observation is there may not be enough employment, but there's also not enough skill. But make it worse, there's not enough people who are willing to want to learn to gain that skill. I mean, it seems to be, the culture seems to be, just have the ability to learn a little bit of this and you're now considered yourself an expert. And now I charge crazy. I mean, it's the reason why most startups, I mean, you can see, I do the same thing, Iroko does the same thing. You can go from startups all the way up to Dangote. The minute people get the money, if I'm going to pay top dollar, I'll get a foreigner. Just simply because at the moment, they come with a lot more experience. They come with a lot more willingness to try to improve the business, as opposed to people just wanting to work somewhere while they try to build something on the side. So you don't get the best out of them, but yet you're paying top dollar. I have tried to build my website. I've tried to be pro-Nigerian for the last 3 years. It's done nothing but backfire in my face over and over again. I outsource it to Europe. It gets done properly, and it gets done properly once and for all. And I don't get charged an arm and a leg for it. And it's really sad that I'm put in this position to have to say that. But down to accounting to a small degree, you can't get good accountants or bookkeepers. You can't get people that even bothered to do their job properly. So hiring is a problem. Integrity in your hires is a problem. And I really hope the likes of Jobberman and Careers24 and Co can actually do something more than just compiling CVs to help solve that problem, because at the moment I don't expect, these guys are not the educational system, so they can only do what they get. But I think those guys are big enough now to probably take things a step further and probably try to work with the government. They're the most prominent guys in my face that have raised the bar a lot and have done a lot
This is Under 40 CEOs.
You know, it seems everyone is bashing employees and saying a lot of them are not employable and all of that, but could it be that leadership is also a problem? Have you ever failed as a leader?
I'll take a 50-50 approach on this one, right? I'm an entrepreneur. In some respects, I put my neck on the line, and in some respects, I'm a leader. Am I a great leader? That's down to my employees to say. Am I the perfect leader? Probably not. But in some capacity, I try to lead. Do I get frustrated at the lack of ability? Yes, I do. And I have the right to be frustrated if I'm paying you, because I'm paying you for your time. I don't think the leadership is the problem. How does leadership become a problem when your employees come to work when they think they want to? They spend most of their time on their phones, on social media, or trying to set up their own businesses in your own area of employment, and just lack the interest to do it. They have this, it's not my father's business mentality, or I'm just doing this so I can pay the bills. Like, we're all doing this so we can pay the bills. I'm doing it so I can pay the bills. The biggest benefactor of this business that we build is going to be society, not me. Will I make some money? That's the hope. But the biggest benefactor would be them, their families, the society. You have a better environment to do your shopping in. You have a more trusted environment to do things in. My biggest problem with the employees is that, has education let them down to some degree? Yes. But they hold a greater responsibility. We live in the digital age. And actually, no, I'll give you an example, right? There's a guy who works at Iroko, he used to work at Iroko, I think maybe Spark, now called Aki. And a few others, Fego and Okwe, who are the great examples. I think when these guys went to Iroko, one was working in an internet cafe earning 20K, one was just learning. And Aki, who's the most impressive, had never done any of the graphics and all that stuff, he was just learning. Today, I have a team of maybe 10 graphic designers. Fego, Aki, and Okwe were the most talented. They came out shining. Okwe works at GT Bank, and he's a fantastic graphic designer. Akin built almost all the Spark websites to start off with, their first versions. This was a guy 3 years before couldn't do that. The educational system let him down, but he fixed himself. He learned this stuff online himself. I saw Akin week in, week out, and he learned how to be a better graphic designer. He learned how to be a developer. And through that, he got pay rises. And through that, he sent himself to university in Mauritius. He's come back, he's got a job. There's very few people that have ever worked anywhere in Nigeria that your employees will take you back once you've gone. Very, very few. Most of the time, these guys are still at the jobs they're at because it's easier to have an experienced hand that's even doing a half-decent job than having to wait and train a whole nother person. But I beg to differ. If Akin went to any of the Spark companies and said he wants a job, before he finished his sentence, they'd offer it to him. And the education, he went through the same education system, but he trained himself. So the internet age is there. If people want to improve their skills, if they want to improve their ability, they can do that themselves. You don't have to wait for the educational system to do it for you.
So how would you describe your leadership style?
Aggressive. I'm not gonna lie, I'm aggressive. I'm aggressive. I need to get things done. There's no sentiment.
Getting things done, I believe, would require a lot of delegation. How important is delegation to you?
Now, I'm a super micromanager. Nigeria just has killed the level of delegation in me because people just don't do things properly. The worst thing is they don't have an interest in doing it properly. Don't get me wrong, there are good people. There are a lot of good people. But to get one good person, you have to probably employ 50 people in that same position. And I've had great people. I've had people like Martin, I've had people like Israel. I've had good people. And they've moved on, and I've been happy to recommend them when they move on. But 2 years, maybe 150 to 100 staff. I can only name a few that I would say were good or great. So you have to be hands-on, you have to micromanage. I've had, 8, 9 accountants last year, and I knew their jobs better than them, and I'm not an accountant. I'm not even that great at maths, but I've learned what I had to learn for the benefit of my business, and the people themselves haven't had the vision. People come here and try to do all sorts of things, officials, all sorts, but you know what? You just keep going, and the people themselves have failed to stand up to the plate.
What would you say are those values that are important to you and your firm?
Integrity is one of the biggest ones. Integrity is the biggest one, especially with the products that we sell. You know, we uphold our integrity to make sure that we don't sell fake products. We uphold our integrity to make sure that we get our pricing right. And you know, customers have to believe and trust in you. And that's how you keep customers. Our employees have to have a lot of integrity as well. You have to be very open and forthright with the customers as well. Make them feel like they're customers. And to me, those are the most important things in our customer service and integrity in our products and our brand.
Okay, so what would you say is the biggest letdown that you've encountered in this path, you know, so far?
No matter how much you share vision, no matter how much employees see growth, they just don't share it with you. The only thing they share is their pocket. And even saying that, pay rises, incentives, that doesn't make any difference. Everybody's just... My issue with Nigeria as a whole, and this is going to sound a bit contradictory, especially in my position and especially in some of the things I said already, but we have too many entrepreneur-minded people. When you have a country that has too many ambitious entrepreneurs, you have nobody that wants to be a soldier. Nobody wants to be a follower. How do you now build a business when everybody wants to be the boss? Being the boss is not easy. You know, your employees' worries become your worries because you have to pay them, and you have to, at the same time, you have to motivate them to do their stuff in order for you to pay them. Do you understand what I mean? And I don't know, people just don't get it. They just don't get it. So yeah, entrepreneurism is actually a problem in Nigeria because there's too many people. I mean, if you look across the road, all these market stalls are there. A bit of a layman's example, but you know, there's a woman over there selling plantains. Fine. She's probably been selling plantains for a while. She maybe has apprentices. They won't stay with her long enough to learn how to do the job properly. They just want to be the boss. Whereas if they stayed with her, they could probably help her grow that plantain stand to possibly a plantain store. But that will never happen because everybody shares a very individualistic vision. And that's a problem. Dangote wouldn't be the company it is today if he didn't have employees that share his vision. And most of his senior management are foreign.
So would you say that we should discourage entrepreneurship?
No. We encourage entrepreneurship, we also encourage good employment and good employees. People have this view that being an entrepreneur is what's going to make you a millionaire. It's not necessarily the truth. But apart from that, being a good employee can still make it. I guarantee you, most of the guys that work at banks are millionaires. And they don't own the bank. You know, most of the guys that work at Dangote are very well off and they don't own Dangote. Probably don't even own shares, but they're fine. You know, and that's so on and so forth in different companies. Most of the guys that work at Iroko and Jumia probably senior management get paid very well. You know, but they don't own the company. And as that company grows, they grow, their wealth grows. That's how businesses are built in modern markets. People have to share the vision and be willing to fight for that company and for that cause. Instead of being there and just going through the motion and trying to find a way out and do their own thing.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
An aggressive leader whom the system has forced to micromanage his staff, Lanre Akinlagun is building an e-commerce platform that will someday have representation across West Africa. I decide to find out how Lanre unwinds and utilizes the resources he works so hard to earn. So yes, I have a few quick fire questions for you. What do you love to eat?
Anything with egg, mainly yam and egg.
How would you describe your style?
Fashion style, non-existent.
So what other CEOs do you currently look up to?
I would say I look up to Jason and Bastian a lot because I've seen what these guys have built from the beginning and taking it up. I look up to Sim.
Shagaya.
Yeah, not just because of Conga, but what he's done with his advertising company before that, what he did with Deal Day, what he did with Conga. You know, there's a lot of tenacity and ability, and I love his vision.
Now, what are your favorite brands to wear?
If I say to wear, the only thing I'd say I wear now is I got recently bought a bottle of Tom Ford. I love it now. But clothes-wise, natives now probably.
What's your favorite car to drive?
I don't know, you know. I mean, you could with cars, right? I love cars, but you have to drive them before you know. It's not just based on the look. I'm very much a feel person. So I don't know, I need to drive them. I need to drive them first to see.
Okay, what's your favorite travel destination?
Mate, South Africa is probably the most beautiful place I've ever been to.
Okay. Your favorite book of all time?
I don't have one. I read business books a lot.
What book are you reading right now?
10 Steps to Retail Success by Rainer Clare.
So lastly, I would like to know what makes you happy.
Just people do their job, I'm happy. See my kids, I'm happy. Those are the two things that make me happy.
Thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Lanre.
Thanks a lot. Nice having me. Hi, I'm Lanre Akinlagun, and you can be an Under 40 CEO too.
This is Under 40 CEOs.